Hello and welcome again, everyone. Another video in my vendor event series. This is episode 8. It is still out of order if you're watching these as I'm uploading them. I'm still working on 5 and 6. I'm trying to get those done. We'll get them eventually, but I figured this is another easy one I can put out this week while I'm still busy. I got a lot of stuff going on. I do have a little bit of time now, though. I'll get to that because my next event isn't for another week and a half now. Would have been 2 weeks if I would have got this done earlier. But my latest event was 3 days ago. And then I had another one 6 days before that. So the last 2 weekends, basically, that I had events. And I had some time in between there, but I had other stuff I was working on between my last event and these two. But anyway, and then my next event is, like I said, another week and a half from now. That's going to be another bigger one. And the rest of them after that are kind of smaller, so I won't have to be as busy with those things anymore, but I have other things that's going to fill my time after that. But I hope to get episode 5 and 6 done soon. Hopefully, at least 5 done before my next event, because I have some time to work on it now, like I said. But just an explanation of that. And again, depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching it later on, if you're not watching it as, time goes by, I'm going to, in my playlist, have things in order by episode number, but upload date, 7 and 8 are before 5 and 6. Hopefully I can get 5 and 6 done before I get to my next event episode, which is going to be episode 9. So, again, I had two one smaller and one kind of medium event happen. Those are the last two that I'm talking about in this video. And I figured I would just put them together because they were so close together and there wasn't really much of a difference as far as things I did for my booth I had more product made for the second event than I did for the first. And I'll talk about that a little more when I get there. But overall, things were very similar at both as far as my booth went. All right, so the last two events, I think I mentioned before, the first one was smaller, and I wasn't expecting much out of it, and I'll just get to the point there. I didn't actually sell anything at that event at all. 0. Went back to 0 with that event, and I was half expecting that. I was expecting either 0 or very little, maybe $10 or something at that event. Because one, I knew it was going to be slower. It wasn't, how do I describe this? It was at a private business, but this business is one of those, it's called Brown Street Emporium. It's one of those vendor mall type things, or people like me who do my kind of stuff, or people who make all kinds of different crafty stuff and sell it. They can rent out space in her emporium, and then the people that work there will sell it for you. You don't have to sell it yourself. And I am looking into possibly doing that maybe next year with that place and with others around that I've found around me that kind of do the same thing. I think right now the problem is, one, I'm not ready to do that. I don't have enough inventory. Barely have enough inventory to keep my vendor, tent going. But also, a lot of the places are kind of already full, and I have to kind of wait for someone to, and I have to get on wait list basically until I have a spot available to me. And I probably should start doing that soon if I want to do it next year, but it was that kind of place. And this event, she does 2 a year. I had just learned, I don't even remember how I found out about it. I think it was on Facebook somehow, but I found it, I applied, and they had spot available. I paid, and did this event. I don't remember the cost of it. It wasn't that much, but I don't remember offhand how much it was. When I'm editing, if I figure it out, I'll put it up on the screen. But again, I made $0, at least at the event. There were people that took my flyer as usual. There were people that complimented me. In fact, there was one lady who was very complimentary. She was the most enthusiastically complimentary person that I've seen, looking at my stuff and admiring it, But even with that, and I kind of expected this, she took a card or a flyer or both, I'm not sure. And what I was going to say is, like, I haven't heard from her. It hasn't been that long, but I haven't heard from her at all. And, you know, from that event, my numbers on social media, any of my social media channels didn't go up. So as usual, if you've been watching any of these videos that I've made in this series, I talked about this a lot. Like, I get that response a lot, where people will come in and genuinely seem like they are very, like, appreciative or admiring of my work. And, you know, that's fine in and of itself. That's great. I'm not complaining necessarily. Like, I never get any, you know, but people do buy stuff occasionally too. But I get this a lot where people, but it's like, okay, I'm not saying you have to buy something, but you could, like, help me, like, you know, give me a little bit of a boost in social media. Like, that doesn't cost anything, you know. Or you could join my email list, which I'm just starting to start finally. That's a whole other thing. But you know, like, any of that stuff that doesn't cost anything to you, if you're so appreciative of it, you know, no one takes that step. Most people don't. I've had a few since I started talking about this on this video. Like, I had some from my July 4th event that I have noticed that started liking my page and liking my posts and stuff. And other events that I've done since then, except for this one. But most people come in and they're like, oh, this is so beautiful, you know, and then they take a flyer and then they leave. But anyway, so she, you know, was very, very enthusiastic about it, though. Like, the most enthusiastic I've seen someone. And again, I'm not saying anyone else wasn't genuine when they did it, but she was, like, for instance, she was looking at these pictures that I have, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But let's see. Oh, of course, it's the one she was looking at now I can't find. I was going to use it as an example. He's got a little messed up. Yeah, I'll have to pop this picture on the screen because I can't show you right now. This sweatshirt that I made for my sister when she got engaged. She pointed at that picture. She's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, the engaged one. Oh, wait, actually, it's right here. Now I see it. This one. Like, the letter, because she first had asked, even before she saw the picture, she was looking at my products and everything, and she was talking about how she works in graphic design, and she asked about how, or she said something about, like, you do all the hand lettering yourself, and I'm like, yep. And she's like, that's amazing. And then she looked at my pictures and she was admiring them, and she pointed out the engaged one. She's like, oh my God, that is beautiful. Like, I can't even, I don't have that enthusiasm in general myself. It depends on the thing, but, you know, basically that's what she said. And, you know, she was like so amazed, and I'm like, oh, thank you, you know, like, nice to hear everything. And the fact that she was also a graphic designer too is kind of a compliment to me, because I didn't study graphic design, you know, professionally in any way, but I try to I've learned things over the years. I don't know everything about it, obviously. And it's nice to hear that someone who, like, actually works in the field is impressed with my work, you know? Because sometimes I'm like, you know, am I doing this right? So that was also, like, nice as far as the compliment goes. But, like, that was the highlight of the day, basically. Like I said, I wasn't really expecting much out of this event anyway, so I wasn't really disappointed. Like, I kind of figured I probably wouldn't make any money or very much. Was looking for more of a connection with people if that were to happen. Other people did take my flyer from this event. I had another person ask, because I said this place is kind of a vendor mall type place. They asked if I had a booth inside, because some of the people that were out in the parking lot with me at this festival or whatever it was, they had a booth inside as well. So they were saying that, like, the person next to me, I could hear her saying that every once in a while to her customers, saying, yeah, I have a booth inside if you want, you know, I'm always here, and like, I have my stuff in here normally. So a couple people asked me too, like, do you have a booth inside? I'm like, no, not yet. You know, they don't have any space yet. I'm thinking about doing it though, maybe, you know. So I had that. So if I did have a booth inside, maybe people would buy something some other time when they came in, but I don't. So that's another thing. But this was part of the reason too why it's not really a loss being there, because I met the person who is in charge there now, and I met like the person who was kind of running the event itself was someone who had a booth inside and had like been established at this place for a while. Like she was someone that was like real good friends with the owner or whatever, so she was kind of in charge of like setting our vendor spaces up and stuff. And I met her too, so like I have a little bit of a connection with them. Not, I don't know if they're necessarily going to remember me, you know, but I can say, hey, I was at the fall, you know, event at this place before. So like if I do apply to be there at some point, I can say that or whatever. So that was getting my foot in the door there, you know. So again, there's always something that is useful. It's even if I don't make money. And what I was going to say is I'm not sure right now. So they do 2 events, I guess, per year. There's one in this like the early summer, like June, and then this one, which was September. So I'm assuming they're going to do that again next year. I'm not sure. Out of the 2, I would do the fall one. I'm not sure about the summer one, because summer in general is bad. People don't really spend money during the summer. Like I've heard that and I've experienced that too. So I'm not sure if I would do, especially at this place there was like steady traffic all day. I'm not saying it was like completely dead, but I think also the type of people that were there, and it was just basically like, she did do some advertising for it, but it was basically people that were already going to be coming to the vendor mall thing that day that showed up. You know, I don't think there was a lot of people that never went there before that showed up. My parents did visit me. They weren't there. They went inside too, and they bought some stuff inside. They found some stuff, but there were a few. But I think it was mainly just customers that normally come there on a Sunday. You know, like I don't think there was anything special. Like there wasn't any like draw from the outside to come in. That's why. But there, like I said, there was steady traffic, so it wasn't like completely dead. There was opportunities for people, but in general, I'll say a lot of them were, and not necessarily. This is not necessarily bad. I'm just saying, a lot of them were like older women who showed up. And depending on what I have available, sometimes older women like my stuff and sometimes they don't. And again, that's a generalization, but usually you get more of a mix of people is what I'm trying to say. Like this was mainly like older people that showed up. So I don't know if that technically was like part of it or whatever. Like it's just kind of a trend I'm noticing. But that's another reason why I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to come back next year or not. We'll see. And it kind of also depends if I do have a booth by that time next year. Maybe if I have a booth inside and I can say, hey, I have a booth inside to people when they come by. So even if I don't sell anything at my booth during this thing, I have people that might come back later and buy something from me. Because another thing with craft fairs in general is people are looking at all the booths around you. Like it's not just you. So they only have a limited amount of money they want to spend. So maybe they do want something from you, but like they want to look at the other booths and maybe they find something else that they want more right now. So then they pay them, and then, well, maybe some other day I'll buy from you, you know. So if I had a booth available, that'd be different because they could come back and buy whenever they want. And I don't have an online shop set up. That's part of my problem too. But I'm working on that. That's a whole other issue. But so that all kind of factors into whether or not I would come back to this first event that I did. Right now I'm saying no, but maybe. I know it's kind of contradictory. It's most likely no is what I'm trying to say. But I'm open to it. It kind of depends also on how many other events I'm going to do, and if I'm more established by then, which I hope to be by next year, it won't matter as much as if I do this one and I bomb like I did this time. It's not going to matter as much because if I'm doing other events and I'm selling well at those, then it won't matter as much that I don't do as well at this one, and I could still have the connection with this place that I might be, having a booth in at some point. So that's all kind of factoring into whether or not I'm going to do this event next year. We'll see. Was there anything else I wanted to say about this event? I actually left a few things at home that I normally take. I didn't bring my vending machine to this one. That was one of them. What else? I thought there was something else. Well, I didn't have as much product available. I think I mentioned that before. Like, I didn't focus as much on getting products done. I did have some that were either revamped or new. But I was focusing more on trying to get my booth set up a little bit more smoothly. And this is one of the things I did. I kind of talked about this briefly, but at past events, I had pictures like this. At my July 4th event, that was episode 2, I actually did a very cheap version of this where I printed these pictures out at my home printer on regular paper. I didn't even have photo paper. And I just slapped them up like behind me on my my curtain, my backdrop behind me at the checkout area. In fact, I have a picture I can put up. And that was fine, but it was also kind of wasteful because I had to throw it out afterwards, and like it was flimsy, and if we would have had more of a problem with like weather with those up, they probably would have gotten wet, and I didn't have a problem because it didn't rain when I had them up. It rained before I put them up because I put them up the second day. But that was that event. And then my last event, my August event that I did, I had printed out pictures. I got them done at Walgreens, and I did this again at Walgreens this time. But I ended up, because I didn't have time to like plan this out or whatever, I ended up taping them down, the pictures, down to the table, my 4-foot table that I have out in front. But the problem is that when I was taking things down, I ended up having to throw out the pictures that I taped to the table because there was such even if I could get the tape off, there was residue on it, and it was going to stick to no matter what I stuck it to, and I didn't really have anything to stick it to like try to preserve them. Like, I guess if I would have had more of these available, these plastic sheets that I have here, that's what they're in right now. I'll talk about this in a minute. I probably could have done that, I suppose, but I ended up being like, I'll just throw them out. They weren't that expensive to get them done. I'll do it again next time, and I did do that. But it was kind of a loss because I'm like, I could have just saved the ones I had, but it's fine. It's fine. I have them now. Like, I got more done, and I put them in these plastic. These are 2 sheets of acrylic. Like, these are 8 by 10, and then I have bigger ones that are 11 by 14 or something like that, or 11 by 17 maybe. I don't know. I don't have a ruler here. Something like that. Where I can reuse them, and they're protected from like water and stuff. So I have to, if you notice, these got a little messed up. I think I talked about that a little earlier. We'll talk about that. That happened at the second event, but I haven't gotten there yet. Okay. So anyway, I made these, and I put these at the same table at that event. But at my second event, and I'm getting ahead of myself there, but we'll talk about it when I get there more. But I actually put them up on a grid wall behind my 4-foot table, which was where I wanted them, but I didn't put the grid wall up at that event, so I wasn't able to do that. So I did it at this event instead. And they did get a little messed up. I have to tweak everything a little more, and I'll talk about that, why that happened, when I get to the second event. But let me see if there's anything else I want to say about the first event. Not really, I don't think. I have some pictures I can go through, the products that I have and everything, and if there's anything to add, I'll add a voiceover about it. But like I said, I was focused more on trying to get the booth ready. Now, actually, there is something I have to say. I have them right over here. I haven't used these yet, but I bought some stuff before that event for future events. It's kind of close to the camera right now, but I have one of these basically where it spins, and I'm going to put my ornaments on here for Christmas, my holiday ornaments and stuff. And there's 4 tiers, and it has casters on it on the bottom too, so it can wheel around if I wanted to do that, but I can't actually take them off because there's a piece in the middle that sticks out, so I have to have the casters on, which is a pain. But anyway, I have that, but I also got, here's another one over here, let me get it. I also have this, which is like a tabletop display for because I'm going to be selling cards, especially around the holidays, but other occasions as well. I just haven't gotten those done yet, and I'm hoping to get them done for my next event, or at least some of them. But anyway, so this is a spinning card display, so I got that. But then I also, at the same time, ordered, and these were from Amazon, I ordered a, hold on, let me go get it, a little magnetic board, and it's kind of small. I might get another one too. But I ordered this the same time, and they were all supposed to come before my first event that I did, that I'm talking about in this video. And the one that I really needed, this one, didn't show up when it was supposed to. Stupid Amazon. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, I know. Lately it's been happening a bunch, where they say it'll be ready by this date, and that's why I ordered it, because it was going to be ready in time. And then, of course not. So, but I did take it to my second event. But for this one, so what I did instead was if you remember, I had a pegboard that I had secured to two boards. I'll put a picture or something up here. That I was trying to figure out how to use or whatever. So for this event, what I did was take off one of the panels of pegboard and take it with me and put it on the table so that I could display my magnets. Because at my August event, I had to put them on the back of my vending machine because that's also magnetic. But I didn't want to do that again. So I needed some way to display my magnets, something magnetic that I could, do that. And I didn't have that many available anyway, so that was fine for my second event. But I'm going to have more, hopefully, come in the later events that I'm doing. So, but anyway, so now I have something to display my magnets. I think I'm going to get another one eventually, like I said, or something a little bigger for a different spot in my booth or something like that. But it worked for my second event, which is what I took it for. I was going to take it to my first, but it didn't come in time. But anyway, so that's what I ordered like beforehand. I'll show you some of the updates to the products that I made. So these are some of the signs I had. I've actually had these since July, my July event that I started this series with. I still have them now too. No one has bought them, but people do pick them up and look at them and they think they're cute and everything, but they never buy them. I guess I'll keep displaying them until they sell. Also, another thing I wanted to say that was an issue, and I knew this going in, I didn't have any of my smaller signs, so I usually have smaller ones that are 5 inches and they're two-sided. I didn't have any of those at this event, and that's part of the reason why I didn't sell anything, I think, because those are usually a hit. And it's good to have smaller, less expensive stuff in general. And the only thing I really had at this event was my magnets, which I just mentioned in the video. These were the ones I had, and no one bought any, but those were the extent of my least expensive stuff, and that people might have bought on impulse and they didn't. And then I had my door hangers and my larger signs that I normally have at least a few of these at my events. And these didn't sell here at this event, again, like I said, but they have sold at other events. The two on the bottom there, I actually finally finished those. So those are finally done now. And I was working on repairing kind of the ones on top, the bigger ones. And I actually, not for this event, but for the next one that I'm talking about in this video, the two gray ones on top, I actually redid. I painted it gray because the background was kind of messed up, the gray background, so I just painted a whole new layer of gray over the top and then kind of traced through where everything was and repainted everything on the signs. So you'll see that when we get to the second event. And also one more thing I wanted to talk about here were the price tags that I made here, the individual price tags on all these signs. I did have these made for my last event, but this time I improved them by making them double-sided and taping them together and then taping, like kind of laminating with the tape around both so that they would be more reusable and so that they would be visible from both sides. But I was focused more on the booth stuff. And this was also, this event was the weekend after the two kind of big things that happened that week. And I don't want to get like political about it or anything, but it was September 11th, and then the day before that was the Charlie Kirk thing. And just in general, like the doom and gloom that was happening was kind of overwhelming to me and a bunch of other people. And it was hard to work on stuff. Like it was hard to concentrate. So that's part of the reason why I didn't get, enough done. But that was also the other factor of it was where I was kind of expecting not much out of this event. So I was kind of getting a little complacent about it, like, oh, like I can just work harder on the next event. Like this one I'm already kind of letting go of. So it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that way, you know, like you expect nothing and you get nothing. It's kind of what happened. I guess that's all I have to say about that one. But the next event, I did make some sales. It wasn't the best day, but it was close. It was my second best single day of sales. My August event that I did in episode 7 was my best so far. This one was $38 I made. But then I also have a promise for more. I'll talk about that in a minute. But there's a future project on the horizon, like, well, pretty much confirmed, because it's someone who has a voucher to order something later. Vending machine related, we'll get there. But anyway, so, like, if that person would have bought something then, with the $10 that they got from the vending machine, then I would have tied my August event, because that was $48. So they didn't, though. They saved it for later. So I could have tied. So it was pretty good. The weather overall it ended up being okay most of the time we were there. It got rainy towards the end. We'll get there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it was kind of threatening to rain all day. And when I was looking at the weather beforehand, like, it kept changing. Like, you know, it's going to be rainy that day. Oh boy. And then, like, we actually got there and I was like, well, it's supposed to rain before we get there. And then, like, maybe a little bit during. And then towards the end it's supposed to rain, which it did. That part. But, it kept changing all day. Like, you know. So it was cloudy. But, and it was a little cooler. Well, it's kind of humid. It's still pretty warm, but not hot. Not like blistering hot, but it was humid because of the rain. And there was kind of a threat of a rain. So that kind of kept people away in general. Like, that's what people were saying, that it was probably because of the weather that there wasn't as much. I didn't mention this, not in this video, but this one I did do the year earlier, and I was inside last year because I broke I didn't break it. Well, I guess I kind of blame myself, like I said. But if you go back to episode 1, I talk about this. I had a canopy that got broken like a month-ish before this event last year, and spots opened up on the inside, on the indoors spots. So I was able to grab one of those, luckily, because I didn't want to buy a new canopy at the time. So that's why I was indoors last year. It was also nice because I didn't have enough stuff to fill a booth like I do now. So it worked out. But this year I graduated out to having like the actual tent outside. Anyway, do I want to talk about the rain now, or should I wait? Because that was at the end of the event. I'll talk about it briefly, and then we'll talk about it more when I get there. So, like I said, it did rain at the end of the last half hour. And then during, like, the teardown time, me and my husband, because my husband came to help, struggling a little bit with the rain. So, I'll talk more about that when I get there. But it's the first time I had to really deal with rain during my event. That was the first time. And luckily, it was only at the end. Like, it wasn't... And being at the end is better than... like the beginning or the middle, so I'm grateful for that. I mean, I'm probably gonna experience it at some point, but I'm almost done doing outdoor events for this year. I have one more. The next one I'm doing is indoor. The one after that is outdoor, and then the rest of them I'm doing are indoor this year. But I'll be doing them again next year, I think. So hopefully by then I have more of a solution. I have ideas of what I want to do with that. Probably either like tarps, like clear tarps, or shower curtains. Tarps are probably more economical and better anyway, so I'll probably do that. I do have a clear tarp already, one of them, but I'm going to get some more, I think. And then maybe something for the ground as well. I know people do rugs, and I know I saw someone do a tarp this time, like just a regular tarp, like you would put under a tent or whatever. Which I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I never thought of that, like a tarp on the bottom. Maybe get a better colored one that, matches my aesthetic more or whatever. Because the rug would get dirty. And then you have to clean the rug, which is pain. But anyway. Something like that. But I don't think I have to worry about it the rest of this year. I mean, I do have another outdoor event that I'm doing. We'll see what the weather's going to be like for that. But I think I can wait on worrying about like the tarp and stuff until next year. But it's something I had in my head. Nothing was really damaged from the rain. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about this. Well, I am. I changed my mind. Nothing was really damaged, though, as far as products go. The only thing that really got damaged was I had some paper stuff that I should have put somewhere else in hindsight. It wasn't a big deal, but I ended up having to throw it out because, I don't have to make... It was just like little forms that I hadn't used. I think it was actually my my email form, which actually, it's a good thing because I want to make those a different way anyway to match the one I have online. So I'm going to do that. Like, it gave me an excuse to do it, to fix it, because otherwise I'd have to reuse the ones I have right now. So, that was really the only thing. Well, I haven't finished unpacking everything, but I think that's the only thing that's got damaged. I had all my smaller signs and stuff that I had left over. I got those into a watertight tote right away. Didn't have a problem. They didn't get wet. My door hangers that were hanging up around the tent, those are sealed anyway, and they're meant to go outside, so when they get wet, it's not a big deal. But I still tried to get them down before it really started raining, because it did get really downpour at some point. But I got them down before it really started raining, and kind of in the middle of the tent so that the rain wouldn't really get to it, because it was kind of raining sideways at some point. I wish I would have took some footage or picture, but I didn't think about it in the moment. Also, a picture of me. I was like a drowned rat. Because I ended up, my tent weights that I have, which are the water weights, I ended up, because everything was wet anyway, I'm like, well, I might as well just dump these out now instead of taking them home. So I went outside my tent, out into the rain, and emptied them out. So, because I was already starting to get wet, so I'm like, I might as well, I'm just going to get wet anyway. So I went out there and drowned myself, basically. It's a little hyperbole, but, and my husband showed up a little bit before 4, which is when it ended, and I had texted him at 3:20, 22 or something like that, because I had told him originally, you probably don't want to come too early this time, because I'm not sure what the parking lot's going to be like, because they have the vendors, we come in, at this event, you come in and you can park nearby to unload your stuff, but then you have to go park across the street for the event, and then they have shuttles that will bring you back. Well, my husband this time was dropping me off and picking me up instead of me doing the shuttle, because I did the shuttle last year. I did that myself last year, but this time he was picking me up. So I'm not sure how packed the parking lot's going to be until 4, because it ends at 4. So you might want to wait until 4 or a little after 4 before you get here, and I can start tearing stuff down before. And that's what I told him ahead of time. But then I was looking at the weather all day, and then I kind of stopped looking at one point, and then we heard thunder and lightning start, and we're like, uh-oh, probably should start, everyone around me was like, we should probably start taking down. I want to be out here during the lightning and stuff, and I was. But, so I started taking stuff down, and I texted my husband, and I'm like, hey, change of plans, you might want to come a little earlier, leave now if you can, and he did, because we're 20 minutes away from this event. So he got there. I wasn't looking at exactly the time, but it was 3:40-ish, probably 3:50-ish, and by the time he got there, it was downpouring, and he came over running with the tote that I kept the water weights in, because we took that back because I didn't need it. He had that over his head, and he's running over, and he had the wagon too, and everything got soaked. It was pretty much everything other than what was in the watertight totes got soaked. And even because I had everything, I had everything but the canopy and the sidewall stuff that I have down. I had gotten everything else down and had kind of piled in the middle of the tent to try to keep it dry. But, like I said, it was starting to come in sideways. So that was an adventure, I'll just say that. Like I said, I was able to preserve the things that were most important that I was worried about getting wet. But other things did get wet, other things that I couldn't really prevent, and stuff that I still have to kind of dry out. It's like 3 days later, and I still haven't, because I had some stuff going on the last couple days. But I can tell you my well, you can't see anyway. This is my backyard. My screen tent that I was talking about, the sidewalls, I have that out there in the backyard, over my patio furniture, kind of drying off, even though it rained again yesterday. But the rest of it, like, I haven't even touched. Like, I brought it in, like, all my fabric stuff, like my curtain and my tablecloths and stuff, they all need to get washed and dried again. They need to get washed before that anyway. Like, I brought them in last time to try to get them washed beforehand, and I didn't for this event. They weren't like dirty, but I was like, I should probably wash these. Now I have to wash them. Make sure I get them done before the next event. I have to dry them for sure, but I need to wash them too. So that's all kind of sitting in my little bag that I have them in, kind of sitting in the water. So I should probably get that done soon. Probably maybe after this video. I should probably get them in the washer, or at least get them out of the bag and kind of dried out a little. But, and I have to kind of wipe down all the tables and stuff. So a lot of that's still in my van, actually. And also in between my two events, my first event that I'm talking about in this video and the next one, they were 6 days apart. I'm like, most of the stuff I left in my van, I'm like, I'm just going to put this back in a couple days. I might as well just leave it in there. And that was when it didn't get wet or anything. So I'm like, that's fine. But now I have to take stuff out of my van and make sure I dry it off. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow. And then put it back in, because my next event is in 2 weeks, but I don't really need my van for anything else before that, so I might as well just keep it in there and pack it in when I'm done, wiping everything down. So that'll be a tomorrow project. Maybe I'll film it. We'll see. Well, okay. I had more to say about the event before the rain started, because again, I was going to do that and then I was going to come back to the rain, but I think I'm done talking about the rain. Oh, there was one. I guess this happened kind of before, because there was rain that happened before the event too, like overnight and the day before. So it was already kind of wet. So the spot I had assigned to me was not really ideal, actually. It was half grass, well, like 3/4 grass, and then like the rest of it, I was kind of in like a dirt area, like where there was plants and stuff. But we were able to fit in there without like damaging the plants, at least I think. But like part of it was like mud, like not grass. So I normally have my checkout area in the back corner now, the last couple of events that I've done. And I had it back there, and I had my chair back there. And as I was sitting in my chair kept like sinking further and further into the mud because I was back in the muddy area for my checkout area. So that was kind of annoying. So then I had to end up moving my checkout area further and further, like towards the front, towards the 4-foot table that I had, so I could kind of get my chair to the point where it was at least not on the muddy part, because I kept sinking in, and I'm like, oh, this is really annoying. Again, I should have took pictures and stuff, but that was one of the challenges I had this time. And it was fine after I finally got everything like closer where everything was on the grass instead. It wasn't a great spot that I had, because I had to be kind of also, my front 2 legs of the tent had to be on like the concrete, because there's concrete, and then there was grass, and then there was mud. So it was kind of a pain because I couldn't stake in the front, which that was fine. Like, we staked in the back, but we couldn't stake in the front, and I had weights. You had to have weights. I mean, they didn't come in check, but so. But it was kind of a pain because we normally stake in the tent thing, the sidewalls thing that I have. And I'm working on a solution for that stuff too. I might end up getting like ones that are separate panels instead. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to end up doing that. It's another thing I have to spend money on, but that'll be a next year thing too. So that's on my list for next year. This works fine for now. I have one more event that I'm using it at, maybe 2. I might do the one next week too, indoors. I'm not sure. Maybe not. But we figured out a solution the week before, because that was all on concrete. Like, there was no staking in whatsoever. So we had to zip tie instead of, because usually we connect it with a stake. This time we had to zip tie the bottom of the screen with to the tent leg, basically. So it's kind of different. But we did that in the front this time at the second event. And then the back were staked in. Alright, so I think that's it. Setup-wise, that was different. Like I said, I have videos and pictures, and if I have something to add, I'll add it in voiceover. But, well, I'll say, I did add, because I had those 2 grid wall panels on the back that I had the last couple of tents that I did. This time, I added one horizontally above my table in the right side or the left, depending on which way you're looking. If you're looking into the tent, it's on the right side. And then I had one on the left side, which was like above my 4-foot table and in front of the checkout area. And that's where I had these taped up. So that's why these got damaged, was because they were up. And it had started raining, and I was trying to take them down. And I don't have them taped to plastic because I didn't want them to get sticky. So that's part of the problem. But, so they're in there kind of loose, but then I taped the 2 plastics together, kind of around the whole thing, so that like it all kind of stays together. And like these are fine, these didn't get messed up, but there were a few that the pictures kind of moved around a little bit because of like me trying to get everything down in the rain. And so when it started, it hadn't downpoured yet when I took these down, but it was starting to drizzle a little bit, so I was trying to get them down, and you know, they got a little messed up. Like some of the pictures kind of fell out from where they were, so I have to fix those before my next event. But we'll see about maybe improving this for next time. I do want to keep them in the same area and on that grid wall part, but maybe there's a better way to secure them up there. So here's my other one, by the way. They're all kind of themed. Like this one's like holiday window painting. This one's like chalkboards. This is all my wedding stuff. This one's kind of miscellaneous. And then I have the other 2, well, the other 3. One of them is Assistant Chaz related. That's this one. And then I have 2 other window painting ones. These are both Halloween related. But anyway, and then I have other pictures too that I might make more of these with. I have to get more plastic, like I said, because I'm starting to run out. But it was a good start on getting those done, and I did, like I said, I worked on that at the first event that I did because I had some downtime because there wasn't really people coming in, and there were people coming in as I was doing it, but you know, it's kind of a thing where like I'm working on something, so I'm not like scaring people away because I'm like looking at them all the time or whatever, so it's always good to have something to do anyway. So I figured I'd work on that, and I got that done, and it was nice, and then I was ready for the next event. Now I have to work on it a little bit more because it got a little messed up, but that was one of the things I did. Like I said, the vending machine I didn't bring to the first event, but I brought it to the second event, and two people used my vending machine at the second event, and one of them, like I said, was someone who, so she paid for a token, and then she got $10. She got a $10 voucher. She decided that she was going to use it for future things. So this is the first time I've done that. I didn't have the system exactly set up, but I figured it out. I gave her like a gift card. I emailed it to her, and so whenever she wants to use it, and I told her I'm working on getting an online shop set up where it's easier to order, but you can always like contact me through email, or you can see me at another event or something like that. Whenever you want to use it, there's no expiration date, blah blah blah. So whenever she wants to order, that's going to be something, and depends on what she orders. She may still have to owe part of it because it's $10, depends on what she wants. But then shortly after her, though, there was someone who was going to buy something, and she asked right before she bought, and you know, I should have done this too, but she's like, oh, what's this? The vending machine. And I explained to her, and I'm like, someone just did it actually, and they won $10. So if you want to try it, like, you could possibly get a little bit off your order if you want. And she's like, oh, because she bought a $15, one of my $15 signs. And so she paid $5 for the token for the vending machine, and then she also got a $10 one. So both of them won $10 the first 2 spins. And also, I was going to say this, I am not able to see the distribution about this one because in the rain when I was packing things up, I was a little slippery, like my arms were a little slippery, and I picked up the vending machine to move it, and it slipped right out of my hands and landed on the ground. I didn't actually check yet, but I don't think it's damaged. It got a little bit of a dent in it, like where it landed, but it was soft ground because it was wet. So it wasn't like on the concrete, so that was good. But it looks like it works, everything. Like I said, I didn't check it yet. I probably, if I do that before I send this video out, I'll put it on here. But also when it fell, a lot of the things that were in there got, all over the place inside. So some of them are still in their spot. Maybe I'll do the ones that are still in their spot and figure out where those were. But it was nice because this was the first time where two people, and it was one person, the first one did the bottom row, and then the second one did the middle row. They both got a 10 right away in that spot. So 2 winners, 2 out of 2 winners. They could have got the 20, but they got 10s. So they were both pretty happy with it. Like, they didn't waste any, not that you really waste the money, like you always get at least 5, but they both got some free money. They got $5 free. So like the second lady, because she was ordered the $15 sign, she got the $15 sign for $10 in the end and not 15. So more people should do it, And I did have one person after that was asking about it, and I was telling her how it worked, and she was like, well, I have to think about that. I might come back, and she didn't come back. But, I could have had 3 people use the vending machine, but it's still, it was still exciting for me that 2 people used the vending machine and they both won. Like, that was kind of cool. Even though, like, I'm giving away money for free for that, but it's one of those things that's a positive thing. Like, people like, oh, this is fun. Like, I'll do that again next time I see you or whatever. So that was kind of the whole reason I bought the vending machine, right? But anyway, so I'm glad that kind of caught on in a way at this event. Hoping that when I bring it to my next event, and I am planning on doing that, I can convince more people, because I'd be like, you know what, my last event, I had 2 people use it and they both won $10. So you want to try your luck? I can kind of use that now. Because I did also, after it happened, I posted on my social media about it. Like, hey, I had a winner, at my vending machine. So if people follow me, they'll see that, And I did have some people from this event follow me. And I do also I had people sign up for my email list, which was another thing. No one did in my last event, the first one in this video. I didn't really get much of anything at that event, but this one, I had 3 people, including the one who wanted the voucher, which I already contacted her. But they wanted more information about me, So I'm gonna send that email out. I warned everyone on social media if they're following. I know one of the people, because I recognize the name, who did like follow my Facebook and my Instagram. I saw her. So she's one of the people that signed up for the email. So I know she probably saw it. I think she follows me, so she should see it. Where I said, I'm going to get that email out ASAP. I had a lot of stuff that I was trying to figure out or whatever. So I was saying either today or tomorrow in my post that I would get that out to the people that asked. But anyway, so now I'm getting a little bit of a following that way too, where I'm getting an email list going, which is good and something I wanted to do. So, kind of related to this, I had mentioned in my August event that I was going to start doing banners for every event. I ended up not doing that for either one of these. I'm hoping I can get one done for my next event, because that would make more sense too, because it's a fall. It's this last one was also a fall event, but this one is more like geared towards fall, so it's called Fall at the Fairgrounds. And I'm going to try to get more of my fall stuff done for this event too, in addition to holiday stuff as well, because that's coming up. And I'm going to make a banner that kind of illustrates that as well. So, and then also hopefully have like something coordinating with it, like, hey, I make these, and these are my prices for it if you want to order one, But anyway, because I think if you watched my August event video, my last one, episode 7, I talked about how there was, when I had a banner up, there was someone who was like, oh, you make those? And I was like, yeah, I do. I don't really advertise. I am working on advertising it too. But, that was a way to bring in more stuff too. So it's something I do want to do. I just didn't get them done for either of these events, but I'm hoping to do it for the next one for sure. The rest of them, it's going to be kind of weird because maybe my next outdoor event, but that one I feel like it might be a little. But this one's at a church. Not the next one I'm doing, the one after that. It's actually the weekend after that, which I expect to be a smaller event too, but it's a church event with people like families that are going to the church. So I think that might be a good place to advertise the banner thing. So I think I might try to do that. And I do have the 10 by 10 space for that one. The rest of my events, yeah, the rest of them are not a 10 by 10 space, so I don't have a lot of space to do that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to advertise it, at least not with a banner. I might put a sign up that says I do them, but I won't have a banner like example. I'm not sure. Because it depends on how I want to make those spaces because they're all very smaller. But anyway, so I'll talk about that when I get to those events. It's one of those things that's on the back burner right now and I don't have time to like actually decide right now. Like I can only do one at a time, you know? Okay, this is my booth setup. As you can see, like I said, the front was on the concrete, the front two legs, and then the back was sort of muddy. You can't really see. If you look real hard, you can kind of squint and see, but the back, quarter, third, whatever, was kind of just mud and not grass. And this was taken at the beginning before I had moved my checkout area up towards the 4-foot table on the left there. So that's where my chair was sinking back and down into the mud. So that was fun. And these were those smaller signs I was talking about earlier that are usually a hit and they're two-sided. I sold all but 2 of these. So like I said, they usually get sold. And then here is where I put another one of those grid walls up above the big 6-foot table that I have on the right. And I hung my smaller door hangers over there, separated them from the larger ones and the other welcome signs that I have over there. You can kind of see them on the left there. And also in the bottom left corner there, you can see I brought my little A-frame chalkboard that I brought to past events, not any of the recent ones, but I decided I was going to try to make a little sign, which I didn't end up really doing. I kind of, didn't do a good version of it. But that's because I did have some time and I thought I would to be able to do something like that. I didn't make it ahead of time, obviously, but I did. I didn't have any table space to kind of, lay it flat and draw on it, which would have been easier. So I put my chair in front of there to try to draw on it, and then it wasn't really working out. And that was also where it was muddy and I was kind of sinking in, starting to do that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna put Welcome to Shrush Design on it and just call it a day. Like I'm not gonna do anything fancy. And also, I didn't really have a good spot for it other than kind of where it was there, because the 2 spots in front where I would normally put it, well, one, I have that lean sign right to the right there in the front, the sort of neon sign that I made. That's first of all kind of redundant, but also that's sign spot, and I may have been able to put the A-frame there, but that's there already. And then on the other side, you'll see I have like my mailbox kind of hanging there where people can just grab a flyer. So I don't really have a spot to put that unless I had some spots in front of my tent a little further, which as you can see, that's a walkway. So I couldn't really do that here. So I probably shouldn't have brought it this time. But since I brought it, I figured I might as well try to do something with it. And here's a closer look at some of my door hanger signs and the other welcome signs that I have. As I said earlier, the 2 gray ones in the middle there, I actually repainted. So I painted over everything in gray, and then I painted everything on top of the gray again because I could kind of see it through. And they look better than they did before. But the one on the bottom, I still have to fix the lettering a little bit, I think, like the suite. But they look better than they did before. And then the lighter brown one on the left, top left there, I finished that one finally because it was only like half done. So, and then the other one on the right, I kept the same. I think I might have added a few more flowers. I'm not sure what it was, but and then I had the other 2 on the bottom, the 2 rectangular ones that I finished last time for my last event, and one of those sold. So, yay. And this was the other side, like I said. So I had to move up the checkout stand because the mud is behind there. So this was before I moved it up. So I was moving it up ever so closely
as time went on to try to get so that my chair wouldn't be in the mud. And then I also, like I said before, the mailbox is there on the end, so that's why I couldn't put the A-frame chalkboard there. And I like it there because people can just walk by and grab the flyer if they don't want to come in the booth, like for some reason, because some people don't. So I like having those there so people can just grab them. And also, if people are in the booth and they ask, "Do you have a flyer?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right in the mailbox." And then they grab it on their way out. So it's a good spot for it. And there's the vending machine. That was before anyone used it. And I have that chalkboard next to it. I used that at my August event. And I said I was probably going to change it a little bit, but I didn't get a chance to. So I just left it the same. I'm going to change it for next time, though. But as people used it, I did cross off the two tens on the remaining vouchers chalkboard there. So it was kind of a visual clue to people like, oh, two people won $10 already, and there's this many left. So that's why I like doing that. And I think it's a good idea. And I'm going to keep doing that. But I want to make the design a little better for the sign. But so far, it worked pretty well at this event. So I was happy with that. And this is the grid wall above the 4-foot table where I hung up the pictures, like I was saying earlier. And a lot of people come in and they like looking at them, and some people comment on them. So I definitely still want to do this. And it's another way to show, too, that I'm actually making these things. They're not like I'm designing them from scratch. I'm making them myself. I'm not doing AI or anything like that. And I've had people comment on that, like, oh, I like how you show that you're actually making them. So I think it's important to display in my booth and show people that I do that. So, and also examples of things that I've done. So I will keep doing this.
I don't think there's anything else I have to say, at least not like super important. If there is something when I'm doing the editing, I will edit something in and I'll do a voiceover. But I think that's all I have to say about these two events. And again, I want to do these because they were right after each other. The next one I think I'm going to do alone. And then I have one that's the week after that, which I might lump that one in with it. I'm not sure. Otherwise, I will do the one that's the week after that, which is my second one coming up. And that's the church one I was just talking about. That one and my trunk or treat that I have, which is a little different. It's not really a vendor event, but I'm going to kind of lump it in. I have that one at the end of October, and then I have another indoor event in November that is going to be, I think, smaller. So I think I'm going to lump all those together because they're all kind of smaller. And then I have 2 in December that I'm doing, and I'll probably do those together in a video as well. So that's what I'm planning on right now. I think, like I said, the next one I'm doing, which is a week and a half from now, that one I think will be the next episode 9. I'm hoping to get episode 6 done. Or not 6, well, 6 too, but 5. The one, so I'm hoping to get that one done before episode 9 comes out, at the very least. And hopefully I can get episode 6 done before then too, so I can be back on track. It all depends on when I want that, because even if I have that filmed, I don't necessarily have to have that come out before 6, so we'll see when I get there. But I'm hoping to get back on track as far as the number goes, the order. And I do also obviously have other videos that are going to start coming out, because I'm not going to have vendor event videos every week, But anyway, as far as the vendor event videos go, that's how I have it planned for the rest of the time. It might change, but we'll see. I do have other videos coming out. I don't have anything filmed, but I have plans for other videos coming out also in between all this. So it all depends on what's ready and what I have time to do and stuff like that. But hopefully I can get like a regular, at least my Wednesday videos coming out regularly after this. And then I probably should have said this earlier in the video, for anyone that overlaps with this content versus my Procreate content. Those are going to be starting up again because the update came out that I had been kind of waiting for. So those videos should be coming out, I think, this Friday, which is 2 days after this one gets uploaded. If not, it'll start next week. So, and those will be coming out hopefully week by week after that on Fridays. And then these videos are going to be Wednesdays. And then I'm hopefully going to start my short videos again too, which come out Mondays. So I'm going to try to get that schedule going for the rest of the year, starting hopefully next week with all 3 of them, if not the week after. So hopefully I get more regular videos coming out again on this channel. It's been a little bit crazy here. I think I can do it, but we'll see. But anyway, that's what I have for today. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.